Okay, first of all, welcome. Can anyone hear me? Welcome for the international audience who first come to Cambodia, and I hope you're having a good time here. My name is Sreyleak. Maybe I should switch the slide. That's the full name, Sreyleak, but I would prefer you all call me Leak, and without the K would be nice, because that would be Lig. I'm 25 years old, Cambodian, and I work at Web Essentials since 2010, and I moved to production. I work at Web Essentials since 2010 as a sales and marketing, and I moved into production in 2013. And I just got promoted to be a project manager like yesterday, officially. And this is my first presentation ever, so I'm a bit nervous. And please don't ask me a lot of questions at the end. Ask him. Okay. And Philipp and I, we work on the same project. I mean, he's my customer. I work for him, basically. And this is an honor for him to agree to have this talk with us to share our experience about bridging East and West through technology.
Thank you. We have some problems with our presentation, but we're going to do the best out of it. So, yeah, you tell some things about me already. I don't know where he got that from. I think I should Google myself and see what you find all in the internet. I'm 30 years old, living in Bern, Switzerland. Really nice place if you can come to join me or join Bern. We have beautiful view to the Alps. We can show you around. I'm working in Swisscom since 13 years in this job I'm doing right now. I'm team leader of web development. We have 4 developers and 3 project managers in my team. And what we're doing is developing, maintaining, and also hosting the website. And the interesting part is the hosting of the website that we self-developing, because you can do that only if you make a good quality. Otherwise, they always come back to you and they want to have fix all the problems. So what we are looking is to really produce good quality for customers. And before Leah, she will tell something about the project that we have with the bank Aellig. I'm going to tell you something about the bridging of East and West, which is named outsourcing. So why does why companies do outsource their IT or their software development? That's the question. I want to tell about something about that. It started in the 1990s when the internet was growing. You are able to, it doesn't show the same thing, you are able to communicate very easily with East and West. So that's where the first steps are made with software outsourcing. And first of all, they start with onshore outsourcing, which means that, for instance, in Europe, they outsource to the eastern part of Europe. So it's still close and still kind of the same culture, but it's not in the same country anymore. And after that, they started really also with classic outsourcing or offshore outsourcing, how we know it and how we do it today. The reasons for that outsourcing, I mean, that's quite clear. In Switzerland, for instance, we need some resources. And we find very hardly some developers. And so we're able to find some more resources which are available here. And the second point, which is very important, is the cost. They are not as high the cost for this developing like we have in Switzerland.
Can you all hear us clearly? That's good.
And we have, of course, this improved performance that we have through that. And the good point is, it makes an economical sense for both sides. I mean, for us, we can have resources for a lower price, but also, for instance, here in Cambodia, they can make good business of outsourcing. And where are we now with this whole outsourcing topic? I can tell you, it is still growing right now. And it seems like growing more over the next few years. And if we look at now, where are we now? I can give you a great example. This is about Manila, which is in Philippines. The Philippines is the third biggest English-speaking country in the world. And if you have a German car, for instance, and you get an accident somewhere in the world, no matter where, the car is sending a signal, an SOS signal, and this signal goes directly to Manila, and someone from Manila calls you into the car if you need any help, if they can do something for you, if they can call emergency or whatever. So this is one good example of how it works with the technology, with the outsourcing, these parts. If you get in America, maybe you can agree with that. If you call your health insurance, the calls are all replied from Manila. So the whole call centers are outsourced to Manila. Manila is the biggest call center in the world. 1 million people working in this business, and it even seems to grow. And this is a so-called BPO outsourcing, which means business process outsourcing. So the whole support process is outsourced from the United States or from Germany or from wherever to Manila. So this is a great example how it really works. But of course, there's also the different thing. There are companies who are insourcing their development or their IT right now. There are also different reasons for that. So the reasons could be that it is political. You want to make the work in the country, so you have more in the economical sense in the country itself. Or another reason is the quality, which is maybe not desired because there are some problems in the process of outsourcing. So we see there's both. And what is interesting is where are the problems, or what is the reason to fail with outsourcing? As I said before, one reason is, of course, to manage the process. Because you don't have anyone next to you on your desk, you just ask him a question within the project. So they are somewhere far away, maybe there's a time difference, and so you have the process, you have to manage the whole process of outsourcing, which will be different than before. Another big issue is the cultural issues that we have when we are outsourcing. And there's also a good example that I noted myself. That Americans, for instance, I come up with some American examples, I don't know why. They used to, if they have a project, they make extensive written agreements and explicit documentation, and from time to time some emails or telephone calls where you can fix the details. In Japan, for instance, it's totally different. You have a verbal communication, and you have more tactic, or continuously working on that, on the agreements. And everything is more like on this Scrum way of work. So we just see those cultures, they work different. Maybe this has been changed in America also by now. So we see just working is different from place to place. And which means the communication is difficult. or is different between different places in the world. And also the social behavior is different. You grow up in a different culture where you have other sense of how to have attitudes towards authorities. You have different ways to work. We got to know your way to how to work yesterday. It was very interesting. That's quite different how we work in Switzerland. And sometimes it's just a language issue. We don't understand maybe a language. We don't speak our language that we learned. And if we take this all together, it's quite interesting, or you might know how can we avoid such issues, or how can we make outsourcing a success. There are many ways. There are some ways. There are some people that say you have to see in which area you're doing the outsourcing. Are you doing middleware, or somewhere in operational systems only outsourcing? That might be easier, because you don't have to understand the process from the client itself. So no applications. But what we do is we are outsourcing applications to Web Essentials, websites. So we are exactly in this part that we're doing outsourcing. And what you also can do is working on those cultural issues that I mentioned before. Make relationship management. See how it works, how they work together. Do they understand each other? You can build particular know-how for that what we want to outsource. We have a good example with Web Essentials, of course, but we also have good examples in India. India is famous for banking outsourcing. That's where they build up their knowledge. And if we talk in Switzerland, at least, if we talk from banking outsourcing, we know it's going to be in India. So this is how they build up their know-how. And you can do training, you can do staffing. You just always have to work on these relationships that you have. And of course, it needs to be a good cultural match also. If I look to our cooperation that we have, I think it's a great cultural match. Web Essentials is mixed with Swiss people, with Cambodian people, with international people, and we also seem to have this international flair a bit in SwissCom. So I think there's already a good cultural match. Of course, there are many points I write down here. Important is that you have the awareness that that such points coming up when you do outsourcing differently when you do it by yourself. And what we have been doing with Web Essentials is the Bank Asana project. So now,
yeah, I will help Philipp from here.
Yeah.
So this is one of the project that Philipp and I we first started together. It's quite big actually for me. It's for the bank website, and this working on this project it requires a lot, because in such communication, as he said, we speak language, but English is not our mother tongue. So sometimes it's a bit hard to understand. But the good thing is that in Web Essentials we have also people who speak German and Swiss German, so that also helps. And for this project, it requires a lot from us as a team, because we have to create new team. We had to work with new system, which was NEOS that we worked. So we want to try out. So we put a lot of trust and learning into this project. So, as Philipp mentioned, it is important to work with the company outside to understand their process. Because you cannot just go and ask them questions. And if we develop the correct process, we can help to understand what the other company is doing, build trust. And we focus on the outcome of the quality of the products. And it is also important with the relationships, because when we work together, we want to grow together. Not just the product, but the communication, the relationship, the culture. And we also want to know what is the reason and why is the reason we want to implement that project. And the good thing was, with this project, both companies were speaking the same language mostly. We speak English. Philipp is actually very good. And we also do Agile. Both companies do Agile, so we understand each other. And we use the common platform. Like, we don't have to go very long to explain how we work, because they also use Jira and Confluence. We also use it. And of course, when you do Scrum here, you having sort of the same process. So we understand each other better. And because of all that, it creates trust within the team, within the corporation. So what we want from the projects is the quality. So we want to make sure that the project we deliver can satisfy our customer. And of course, our customer, for example, for Web Essential is Swisscom, which is Philipp, and also his customer. So we share the same goal. And it's very important actually, it's profitability. Both companies want to have income in order for us to move forward with our business. And that's what he mentioned. If we implement the project in the country, it may cost more. So that's why he shifted or sent it to Cambodia, to us. So for us, it's actually helping, because by giving us project, it's giving us opportunity to work more and to learn more for the people who work within the organization. And those are the profitability we count as well, not just the money. And this actually not all the team members. I have to check on my notes, sorry. I was so brave, I didn't look at the note before. So, but working together with a Swiss company, it is not that easy, and especially for myself, because you need a lot to understand the communication, and many times we misunderstanding. But at the end, we achieve the result because we are patient and we communicate, and we give trust and opportunity. And throughout the time, there were so many problems, but at the end, everyone are trying hard and working on the project to deliver the outcome that the customer would want. And because of that, we understand more about each other in terms of culture. It's a really nice picture, I have to say. And because of this, it's actually create the world closer, because from now you are in Cambodia, like me in Cambodia, working with the Swiss customer. We have the system that we can talk to them. So actually Switzerland is not really far anymore for us. Short-term or long-term profitability. For us, it's important that we want to focus on a longer profitability, not a short-term, which means you want to deliver the good product, provide a good communication to your customer, provide trust, and give them the feeling that this company can do it. Sometimes they may need to learn, but they can do it. So for us, that is important to, what is the word? To acknowledge, to tell them that we need them to trust us. And within this process, from the beginning, it may be difficult, it may be challenging, but after a while, you adapt to this environment, to this process, so you can work better. And it is also important for the outsourcing company to think of where they outsource to. Is that location needed their support? I would say support for me. Like, how can they impact those people's life? And it's actually awesome. I mean, from my self experience, because working on these projects, for example, it's developed myself, I grow a lot, and also within my team. So at the end, we are not just wanting the good product, but we want to improve people. We want to develop people. And may I ask you why did you choose the Web Essential, like working with us? Is there any
many reasons, of
course.
The
main reason.
No, there are, well, the main reason was we didn't have the resources to do it by ourselves, the whole project. So we need some more external resources. We used to get those resources locally. So the time has come when those local resources grow also, and they get their own company, and then suddenly they're not reachable for us anymore. So we had to find a new partner, and we heard about Web Essentials from Jonas, by the way. You have come up with that company. What I liked most in Web Essentials is also the way you work, or the mindset that you have in the company. And I think this is an important point too. I mean, you can find so many resources all over the world, but actually you don't know them, you don't know how they work, what kind of social responsibility they have. And in this part, with the Web Essentials, we were quite sure this is a good company that we can trust, because trust is important. And we are also sure that the quality was correct. And in fact, it was very good quality that we got. Yeah. So that was one reason, many reasons also I've already told you.
Well, actually, I have to say a bit proud of the team, because after this project, we also work on another project, and I observed that we did better, faster compared to the previous project, because we also understand their process. So we actually didn't do a lot of communication in the second project, which in this case is saving Philipp's time or Swisscom's time, because we kind of now understand the process. So all in all, we want to develop software and developing people. And those are some of the key points that I have already mentioned. And happy collaboration, happy outsourcing. So do not scare to outsource your project. Check out the company. The presentation is done by us, Swisscom and Web Essential. Thank you so much. If you have any question, please ask.
Oh, I have to add something before. Yeah, she was telling that it's not easy to outsource or to work with Swiss companies or kind of like that. But I just wanted to say I can agree. It's not easy, because that's what I was saying in the beginning. It's not done if you just make a box move from developing to Cambodia and that's it. There's still a lot of interaction that is going to take place during the project, because there are some questions coming up, and you have to have resources also to reply to all these questions, or to work on this. And that's maybe what I learned. You need to have the time. That was Lea's job. She was waiting for our answers, and we are so busy. We are on other projects already, and we didn't have the time to do that. And she was a big compliment to you. She was just pushing us and pushing us. And you were a bit the bad project manager from Web Essentials, who was getting those information. So you don't have to forget. Still, you have some work to do, even if you outsource. And we are lucky that we have a person who is showing us day by day what we have to do. That's just...
Yeah, I think it's important as a company, when you create a project, you want to create the project that the end customer. You think about the end customer. So in return, they would like this project. They generate more income. They will come back with more projects. So it's both ways. You have to understand. You have to create it in a way that it can be used and friendly, user friendly. So they will come back. That I think is important. Yeah. Thank you.